I wish Christianity resembled what the Bible teaches. I'm reading in 1 Corinthians chapter 1, and Paul the Apostle is dealing with the schisms among brothers who say, I belong to Paul, I belong to Cephas, I belong to Christ. And then he speaks later on about how carnal that is. And then he starts talking about how Greeks look for wisdom and the Jews want signs. I couldn't help but make a application of charismatics looking for signs and Calvinists looking for wisdom. I have been exposed to both extremes. One extreme is looking for some type of heebie-jeebie to validate the presence of God in their lives and in the church. They want to see some tangible work of God to validate that the pastor's from God, that the church is from God, or that God is working in the church or in their lives. That takes you down a rabbit hole you'd never come out of. And then I went to the extreme of Calvinism. Now, I'm not knocking the people that believe either side, but I am saying there are extremes on both sides. And when I see in Calvinism, if you don't cross the T's and dot the I's on your theological framework, then you are ousted out of the group. I've experienced that myself in the last few years, dealing with brothers who are reformed and sisters who are reformed. I mean, they nitpick about every single thing. And it brought some real problems to my life where I was doubting God's presence. I was doubting if I was doing anything right because I wasn't following a regulative principle. I'm looking for the regulative principle in the Word of God, and I can't find it. There's a lot of proof texting going on, and I know they will philosophically be able to break up my argument. But I just want to keep it simple here. The Bible teaches me that those two extremes existed back then. Not the Calvinists and the charismatic, but the Jews looking for signs and the Greeks looking for wisdom. A lot of the Jewish organizations of that time were very mystical. And Paul dealt with that. And then the Greeks were all about philosophy. And Paul dealt with that. And what does the gospel do? What does God do? He chooses weak things of the world to shame the wise, the lowly things, the despised things. He chose ordinary men, fishermen, who weren't schooled. They were schooled by Christ. Now, I'm not downing education, biblical education, because you should be educated in the Word of God, and I'm still learning and growing. However, these extremes I have experienced hurt people. It really does. At first, I was all in with Reformed theology, but then I'm seeing how it causes division. And I think both of them cause division in their own right. But the Bible tells me that the most important thing is the gospel, is the Word of God, that no man should glory or take any honor from what God has done in and through the gospel. My brothers and sisters, I want you to understand that that paradigm of following the gospel of Jesus Christ is the best way to live. Please be studious. Sound doctrine is very important in the believer's life, but also beware of the crazy part of looking for this established religion in your heart, that you're doing everything right and saying everything right. It can drive you bananas. And then you got to go away from the extreme charismania that drives people bananas. Stay stable in the Word of God.